You're listening to Key West Beer Tales, the sum of all beers, brought to you by the Cork and Stogie, 1218 Duval Street, Key West, Florida. The facts and opinions of the show and its staff are prone to exaggeration, error, and conjecture, and are often given under the influence, always given under the influence of drinking beer. After all, this is a beer show. It's about beer, and we are busily drinking it while discussing its merits, so what did you expect? Slurring, laughing loudly, name-calling, and belching are par for the course, so it's best if you imbibe with us in a responsible manner, just to get into the spirit. We always welcome your comments, whether we actually pay attention to them or not. Thanks for listening.
Hey! All right.
Cheers. What's so funny?
Welcome to Key West Beer Tales of Some of All Beers, sponsored by the Cork and Stogie at 1218 Duval Street in sunny Key West.
Woohoo!
I'm Key West Chris, your host.
I'm Danny Hoy.
I'm Cowboy Mark.
Diamond Dave.
And Dave Sr.
And tonight we're going to be doing some fun beers. We're doing a whole bunch of lambic beers, which are out of the Lindemans brewery.
Yes.
In Belgium.
Yes.
And again, we've talked about this before, but just a rehash in case you missed the show before. The original Lambics are all beers that are on what they call the Bruegel route, which is a route where the artist Bruegel used to do his paintings. Coincidentally, all of the beers are brewed with wild yeast, which which up until 30 years ago they were the only beers that were brewed solely with wild yeast, and it's a wonderful thing. And they just put it in the fermenters, and the yeast that's in the air is the yeast that ferments it. And what they do, there's many breweries, not many, but there's a few breweries that do this type of beer. We're doing Lindemans tonight because they're easily available to us.
I think what you're trying to say is that there's a couple breweries now doing it, whereas back in the day there was only a very select.
Well, Lindemans is one that's always done it.
Yes,
and
Lindemans
so we're
has
doing,
always done it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like wild fermented breweries out there.
Yeah.
And even in New World versus Old World, craft versus Old World.
We're starting to see all kinds of great things going on. It's really fun. But at the time, this was the one, and this has gone on for like 300 years. And
everyone is
new ones.
grasping for smartphones right now.
No, I just don't know where mine is.
Doesn't matter.
Chris, is this an ale or a lager?
It is an ale.
It's an ale.
Yeah,
all
this is
Lambics
an
are
ale.
ales.
Oh,
all
hey.
Lambics are ales.
Yeah, all Lambics are ales.
Which one, lambic or ale? What are we choosing to?
Well, Lambic is an ale.
Oh, lambic.
Yeah.
Lambic.
Maybe that should be. That's the word for this evening. Good show there, Mark.
That's a lot of drinking going on with a lambic, I think.
Yeah.
A brief 2 seconds about this beer. We've done a lot of sour beers recently on the show here. And I'm a big proponent of that.
You're a big proponent, and Danny's the one who's not all that crazy about it.
Yeah, she's not all that crazy about it.
That's what makes the world go around.
Well, and I've been forcing her to drink more and more sour beers.
Me.
Sorry, it's like
he's been
sour.
holding her down and putting a funnel in her mouth and pouring
drink
it in.
this sour beer. But again, all these, especially in the New World sours, they all come from someplace, and specifically, they come from this place.
Yeah.
So this is not the original sour beer, but this is a sour beer. This is actually the catalyst for many of the New World sours or craft sours. This original style is fantastic. It was proven over many, many years and very, very good. And the first one we're trying tonight is the apple one, or the Pomme.
Pomme. Yeah.
Pomme.
Which in French is apple.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Fruit of
curious
the air.
because the funny thing about this is that the French Belgians and the Flemish Belgians don't really get along that well. But the funny thing is that this is a very Flemish beer, but they use the French terminologies in all their beers, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and I'm probably going to get 4 emails after this airs.
Let's hope
this
so.
show airs. This Pomme airs. This fruit of the air airs.
Yes.
From friends of mine from that part of the world, and they're going to be like, "Mark, you're a jerk. you don't understand. You
But he
can't
gets those
pronounce it
emails
that way.
from them every time.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean,
He-
they always email me.
Mark's email box is just inundated
You know what?
with people that are
With ding-dongs.
criticizing.
Considering they call this a spontaneous fermentation,
Well, I mean, spontaneous fermentation is actually what
that makes sense. That he just
And
gets
he gets
random
spontaneous-
emails.
Spontaneous emails.
spontaneous emails.
Well, you know, here's one of the things.
Spontaneous
You know,
fermentation.
Mark was just
Boom!
talking.
All of a sudden, it's alcoholic.
Well, one of the
That's
things.
why I just threw that back there.
No, but here's one of the things is that Mark was mentioning that this is these are sour beers. One of the reasons that they made this style of beer, and we're going to be going
Yes.
through several of them, is they added the apple, they added the peach, they added the cherries, they added the raspberries,
yes.
all because it was a sour beer, and they were utilizing those fruits to offset the sourness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To make it more palatable.
Yeah, and that could never have been done in Germany because the Germans,
No.
being Germans, are so
Of course.
stiff, and, and-
Reinheitsgebot.
yeah, the
I'm
Reinheitsgebot,
like, hey,
you
man.
can't add anything
Hey.
but barley malt, hops,
I'm
water,
like,
and yeast.
don't mess with Reinheitsgebot. Like, hey, who's doing that?
And
Seriously.
Not a German.
that has its merits.
Yes,
It certainly does.
Seriously, this is way more palatable than some of the stuff we had the 3 weeks ago. The Ode Bruins.
Shut up, Danny. That was amazing. That beer was awesome. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
No,
Well,
it's
that
okay.
I'm sorry.
That just goes to show
I digress.
There you go.
Mark the digressor.
palates
Keep
that
that
we
funnel away from me.
Say again, Dave?
That just goes to show the variance of the palates that we have for this show.
Yeah.
That Mark loves them. Dave's a fan of them. Danny is, I don't
Well,
stand them.
you know.
I love
you
everything.
misunderstand?
I didn't say can't stand.
You know, hey.
And I choked on
I
them.
like this one. Okay. Yeah, you did choke on that one.
The other one, yes.
Yeah, there was, hey, let's get back to this real quick. So, Dave Senior, you did choke on that one, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you turned
literally
purple. Yeah.
was hilarious.
That was a few weeks back.
But
Thank
It made
God for
me
those
choke
pickles.
on my beer because I was laughing at you,
I did get it down.
disapproving of this beer. But how do you feel about this one, the Pomme?
But that's how versatile this show is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're going to get one opinion from Mark and one opinion from Danny, and
Right.
You know,
But
David,
somebody
really,
made
what
keyboard
I'm looking for
So,
is your opinion of
this-
this.
I'm
beer.
going to be honest with you.
I like an apple cider, so I like the apple.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing. I do like this one. I don't see me pairing it with food. I don't see me pairing it with a cigar. I just
Really?
see me.
Yeah, I'm the same
No,
way.
I just-
I would pair this with a really obnoxious French woman. Maybe
You're right up my alley, man.
stale cigarette.
Maybe a girl who's in the
Stale
can.
cigarette.
Yeah, stale cigarette. Stockings.
I know at
The
least
fishnet. Shut up. Fishnets. Fishnets.
Blew that
Stockings.
beer out my nose.
Yeah.
Hey, for those of you who know me, please don't mention that name of that one.
We're not. But I
brain
definitely this reeks of Paris.
Yes.
So, I want to say that in the best way possible because I love France and the French people.
Why do I love Paris?
Reeks of petty.
So you drink this with a beret.
I would drink this with a beret.
Yes.
And I might want to punch myself afterwards.
And a huge baguette stuck out on the back of your bicycle.
And a mime right nearby.
And the irony is it's from Belgium and not France.
Yeah.
Well,
It
no.
would
So
work there.
we're gonna
It would
get
work
there.
there,
We're
yeah.
gonna get there. We're gonna work our way
And
up.
it's Dutch speaking.
Seriously,
Belgium.
everyone is miming their way around this conversation right now.
It's very
God.
it's very sweet,
Daddy. No.
No.
and there is a on the very very tip of the tongue.
Sorry.
Go back, Dave.
No, we don't have to go back.
that's
I'm talking through
All right.
this. I can
All
talk
right.
through
All right.
this.
You
It
can do
doesn't
that.
bother me at all.
All right.
Hey, don't blame me for bringing it up. That's all.
On the very, very tip of the tongue, probably the farthest point of the tongue will reach, it bites. There's one bite, and only in one spot of the tongue. Other than that, it's very fruity. It's very
it's real
sweet. It's left sugars on the teeth, and but it's nice. It's very nice. It is what it's represented to be.
It's marvelous. I would. Dave's doing the video again. I think this beer is magnificent. I think it's just fabulous. I'm enjoying every minute of it. And in certain ways, it reminds me, as a kid, I grew up in New Jersey, and there were these. There was a couple of apple orchards a little bit north of me, maybe about 4 or 5 miles, and there were Tice's and Van Riper's farms in Montville.
Yep,
and
we're still there.
Well, they're kind of there.
I mean, yeah.
But in any case,
more or less still there.
Yeah. But the thing was, we always used to go up there, and we would get just fresh apple cider squeeze, not fermented or anything, just straight apple cider. And that's what I'm getting out of this one. It brings back those memories. It's not the same by any means because it is a beer, but it has that whole apple flavor. It's beautifully balanced.
It tastes like fall up north.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it
Dave
does.
Jr., what's your opinion?
I actually like it. It's a good. It tastes like a very low alcohol fermented apple cider,
and that's what it is. I mean,
and I do like I'm a big fan of the ciders.
Yeah,
he is.
And tell you the truth, and for that
I
one,
love Strongbow. He's a
my
ding
only
dong.
problem with that is it's and not a problem. It's just a little higher on the sugar side, which means the next day if I drink a bunch of those, I'm going to have a hell of a headache.
Well,
yeah.
Now, what is the alcohol content?
The alcohol
of it?
content?
3.5.
No, not even. It's more like 2.5.
As a matter of fact, I threw it all behind me. Wait a minute. I literally just read it. I believe it's 3.5. I believe it is. Hold on. The Pomme?
Now, the
3.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
3.5.
Okay, the thing is,
Which means
it's very
you
low
can drink
alcohol.
this.
Very
Yeah.
low alcohol.
Very low alcohol.
Means you can drink it all morning and
Yeah.
you'll be fine and go to work the next day. Or that day.
That day.
That day.
That
And
day,
you'll be
too.
fine to go to work that day.
And go to work the next
You can drink 4 or 5. Go to work. No problem.
Well, we've all known that we were supposed to go to work that day, had a little too much alcohol, and went the next
You
day.
had about 8 or 9. That's where the problem comes in.
So, Chris, I just want to touch on a little bit about tradition.
It's like an apple champagne.
Yeah,
As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
Good.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's an apple champagne.
Yeah.
Good.
So just a little bit about tradition. So, this beer is traditionally consumed all day round. It's at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Most commonly, and you pair it with cheese, and for me,
Cheese would be great with this.
yeah. So for me, when I was living in Europe, and spending a lot of time there, we'd have these fantastic, black breads, cheese, and beer, and that was lunch.
That sounds
And,
like lunch.
Sounds like a Belgian lunch.
Well, I mean,
or
it
French
was
lunch.
German, French,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Yeah.
in France it was a little bit. Wasn't black bread. It was
It would've been
gray
like a baguette or
bread.
something, yeah.
And in Spain it was a little bit different. It wasn't actually beer at all. It was cider. But it was this thing. It was this proper. It was a fermented thing because the fermentation actually kept the product good, kept it acceptable for human consumption.
Yeah. And we're going back in time here.
Yeah, we're
talking
going back in
like,
time here.
back,
So then, traditions.
50, 100, 300 years.
Yeah.
All that time
so
period.
we had, at that time period, refrigeration obviously didn't exist, and the best way to keep fruit juices and kind of nutritional value of the fruit juices, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, was to ferment the fruit juice, so that way it stayed good, acceptable for human consumption much longer. So that's one of the main reasons this kind of happened. So they would add wheat and grains to a ferment wheat and grains, and then add fruit products
Right.
to it to
Sure.
continue the
And to make the young children go to sleep quickly so that they could party throughout the night.
Are you going to bed yet?
Can somebody tell me where we got this awesome guide?
I don't know. Mark came out with
Well,
it.
we
Downstairs.
we have one here.
Yeah.
No, I brought that with me.
Dave is holding up a paper that has.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, it has
What
a
is Merchant du Vin?
Merchant du Vin. That's
Merchant
the
du Vin.
importer.
Devon.